I thought you had to work.
Well, so here's the nice thing. Yesterday, I go to the Providence Journal. They say, all right, listen, you can be in your civilian clothes. You're going to work from 12 in the afternoon to 10 in the evening. And what you're going to do is you're going to sit at this gate in your car. And you're going to watch the gate. Now, the gate to the road is closed. There's no way to get in unless you have the remote control opener, which is in one of the cars for the security officers. So it can't be opened unless you drive a car through it. And then inside is one of those little gates with the arm that goes up and down, which the arm's up. And then another 20 feet beyond that is 2 road cones. So I'm sitting at the end of the road cones about 50 yards away from the edge of the gate. I just had to sit there and watch this closed gate for 10 hours because some employee threatened some other employee. And so we were called in for extra security to make sure first employee doesn't actually come in and make good on his word. But we don't know what the employee looks like. We don't know what the employee drives. And it's not like they have to go through the guard check and check in because they have their own pass card. So they can just drive onto the property and we'd never know. So basically I just sat there for 10 hours playing on my phone and periodically checking the gate that doesn't open.
That was all to solve a liability problem that they were going to have if they didn't have enough security.
So I was supposed to do it again today from 2 to 10.
But the guy killed himself.
No, the guy actually showed up yesterday and killed the employee, so there's no need.
Exactly.
Hello, Internet. I'm Joe.
I'm Eric.
I'm reading emails already.
And you're listening to Just Cool Enough and fucking Summer Sale. I was just hoping they weren't gonna do it. I was like, no, just don't do it. That's great. Yeah, it's already 4th of July. They're just not gonna do it. That's good. I'm happy with that. But then they fucking showed up and did it.
Great. Now I just sit here and browse games all day, and I'm just sitting here looking at games that I purchased for way more money, games that listeners purchased for me that were way more money that you can get for $10 now.
Yeah, the first 2 or 3 days, I was like, fuck, I can't spend money. I mean, we're moving at the end of the month. We're trying not to spend so much goddamn money because it's going to be kind of expensive. And, all this moving shit costs money. So we're just, I'm trying not to spend money. First few days, it's fine. It's like, shit, I own almost every one of these games already, and the ones that I don't own, I don't really want anyways. And then, yesterday rolls around, and it's fucking, and hey, you want to get the Walking Dead video game for $15? I was like, yes, I do, but fuck you. And I was like, God damn it. And nobody's buying me games on Steam this year because nobody listens to the show anymore. So I was like, fuck. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of games I see because I own so many of these fuckers anyways, like the indie bundles. I will own any of the games in the indie bundles that I might want. I already own anyway, so it's just it's been pretty nice not having to buy any of these. Knowing that I can't maybe gives me this different perspective where I go, I wouldn't probably waste my money on that. But if I was able to waste money, I probably would have.
So I'm sitting here watching all these games go up for sale that I really want, and I'm holding off because I don't get my first awesome paycheck until Friday, and so I'm watching these deals fly by. I'm just like, oh man, I really want this one. But then I made a pact with myself: if I hold off till Friday, I'm gonna be able to get Skyrim for however much it is, unless it goes on sale earlier. Then I'm gonna buy it then. I'll finally get to play that awesome game that everybody's talked about and lived already, except for me.
Yeah, I think it's $30 right now or something.
Yeah, right now it's
$40.
So
30.
Yeah, but man, I don't know if I missed the sale yesterday where it went 50% off.
Yeah, no, I think it was a vote. I don't remember.
Did Modern Warfare? I at least hope Modern Warfare did it.
Yeah, one of them did. I don't fucking pay attention. I just vote for the Steam achievements.
Oh gosh. Steam achievement hoard. What about you, Ike? Have you bought anything from the Steam sale?
No, because the fact that I'm also moving at the end of the month, but I actually have to pay rent, and my rent is actually going up by 100. I've been trying to be good and only spend my money on gas and food.
Well, thankfully, but our our rent is actually going down like $170 instead of going up 400, which is why we're moving.
However, I might have convinced my girlfriend to move in with me, in which case maybe I will buy something.
Just put it on a credit card. It'll be fine. Anyway, speaking of awful ideas, let's read some emails.
We have this email from Johnny from Deutschland. It's email or M-Hail. There we go. Hello, people of JCE. I'd hate to start off with, quote, long-time listener, first-time writer, because it's cheesy and it still applies. Am I the only one that genuinely remembers omfg.com as I hit the mic? I used to listen to it for a while when I was wasting my life grinding life on Guild Wars in 2008. Totes and have to admin. I hate the max speed promos.
He hated the max speed promos?
Seriously. So anyway, that's how I started listening to JCE. Granted, because it was fed to me, but I still enjoyed it. More so because it was not about WoW, which I've never played and hopefully never will. I think you guys underestimate the amount of listeners you have, or maybe I'm just being hopeful. Well, and that's and for what it's worth, I've been listening to the actual show by episode since August. It's only until now that I've been able to write an email, since I had to catch up with the billions of episodes, or I'd end up referencing something about 20 episodes back.
You wouldn't be the first one. We've had people who have like, hey, I just started listening, and I wanted to email you about this show that you did 3 years ago. I was like, nah, thanks.
And you just had to keep making new ones, didn't you? But you can continue now. I will allow it. But really, I do vastly enjoy listening to the show. I usually do so on Sunday afternoons while browsing the internet's one-handed. No ambiguity needed, I think, or intended, I should say. On an unrelated note, I just opened Steam. It turns out that the Steam summer sale started. Here we go again. Buy games because they're so cheap and then never play them. Or am I the only one? To Joe. This bodes well for my penis. P.S. Eric, this is the most attractive. No homo. Johnny from Dutchland.
Oh, no homo.
Aw, homo's the best.
Everyone who
Johnny
thinks
from Deutschland.
That's the problem. Everyone who thinks I'm attractive wouldn't have sex with me. You're like, he's the sexiest one there, but I wouldn't fuck him.
That's not true. Once we get the video
Weird,
show
'cause
going,
the sexiest one here doesn't have a girlfriend.
it's his. He's so sexy he repels the women.
And also I've realized that I'm terrible. It's fun because living in Los Angeles, I've been going out a lot to UCB shows because I have to see shows because I'm taking improv classes.
What's UCB? What is UCB?
Upright Citizens Brigade Theater.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah,
I remember that TV show.
Your lingo. Your
same people that handled the TV show. I've been taking an improv class, which I think I've mentioned.
Have you gotten funnier?
I've gotten better at improv, probably, but I don't know about funnier. I'm learning this structure of improv. But I go out to see shows because they're free for me, because I'm a student. And every time like I'm talking with people, either people from my class or friends of people in my class that I don't know, it's weird that like nobody's from Los Angeles. So if you have nothing to say to a person, you just ask them, hey, are you from around here? No. When did you move here? Where are you from? Like, that's the conversation that everybody's had with me. Like, it's weird. Like, I've had that conversation so many times with people because you can just say that because nobody's from here. But
you know what's funny about that, Eric? You can actually ask that in most places and people will talk. It's kind of not just a comedy thing.
Well,
you can
no,
actually
I'm
say
not
that in
saying-
real life
I'm-
outside of comedy.
It just because Los Angeles is uniquely weird because nobody's from here. Like nobody living in Los Angeles is from Los Angeles, so it's a great way to talk to people about stuff. Except people always ask me, I'm like, oh no, I've only lived here about a year. Yeah, no, Sacramento area kind of. Yeah, and then the conversation stops because I'm terrible at talking to people, so I never follow it up and go, and what about you? So
You're just a selfish conversationalist.
I had that conversation literally twice last night with two different people, and it's like, oh, where's it says Sacramento area.
And then it was just quiet.
Yeah, then it was just quiet.
You should tell him you do a podcast. Do all the comedy people do podcasts? That's from what I understand. Every person in comedy does a podcast.
Well, comedians do, like people who are professional, but the people I'm not talking to like successful people, at least in terms of fame and celebrity. I'm usually talking to people like me, only more successful than me, but not all that. People who it's weird. I do know one of the people from my class is. Works for the Earwolf Podcast Network. She doesn't do a podcast. She does something else there. She works at that office. But yeah, so.
Does that, if all comedians do podcasts, are all podcasters comedians?
They'd like to think they are, but most of them aren't funny. Like us.
Oh. Speaking of not funny, we have one more email. This is from Van City, a.k.a. the van I live in down by the river. Good Chris Farley. It says, cheers from Van City. Dear Eric, Ike, and Joe, as always, thanks for your suggestions on VG soundtracks. I haven't had much of a chance to look for any of it, but I will no doubt an orchestral Zelda soundtrack will be badass. And the free Portal 2 music is just great. Listening to your show, I just randomly figure out Valve plans for their threes. Orange Box 2 will contain every game Valve makes with a 3. And then Valve will win the world and retire. Cheers from Van City.
Well, thank you, Kurt. Possibly. I don't know, because the Orange Box was such a unique thing, because it's like, here's 3 video games we made in a year, which is unheard of from Valve. They do about one video game a year, and this year it's Dota 2. That's all they're basically focusing on. They're actually, like, for the amount of ungodly piles of cash that they don't make a lot of video games, and they don't have a very large team of people working on them. And a lot of their employees are free to just kind of make whatever. They're like the weirdest company to work for in an incredibly awesome way.
I think that's awesome. I mean, Gabe has his little minions, and they suckle him for ideas, and then they make the ideas, and it's just like a big circular.
He just hires people that are good at things, and he's like, I don't know, make something or don't, and then they'll just kind of work on something, and then they like, hey, we've been working on this, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Why don't we turn that into a game? Or he'll just be walking around, and then
people hug him.
No, he'll be walking around and he'll see a bunch of college students. It's like, hey, we've got this video game we're working on. He's like, I will buy it from you, hire all of you, and we'll call it Portal. And they're like, okay.
Now make a second one. This was a great hit.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, they're a really weird team. It's funny, just like the just how laissez-faire their entire production thing is. Whereas I have a friend who works at Blizzard, and he works like 60-hour weeks, because they're an Activision company, so they're in constant crunch mode. Like, he's always days after they shipped Diablo 3, he immediately started working on Mists of Pandaria. So he's just like always working. He like 60-hour weeks. He never has any free time. I mean, he loves working there, obviously, but it's just like that's how most companies are run. Most video game companies are like, you're always working. 6 days a week, maybe 7.
Valve is like the Google of video game companies.
Yeah, they are. They have like a snack bar with like free snacks and stuff. Like you can just get cookies and food all the time there, and it's just free. It doesn't cost anything, and it's just weird. They're just a weird company. Because they can afford to be. They don't have to come out with that many products, because Steam makes more money than God.
And God can literally just make money.
Yeah.
But Steam's like, got him beat out.
Yeah, they make money faster with their god-awful Steam sales that they're stupid sales. Making all this video games and making me want video.
I think you're just jealous of the Steam sale because you don't want to waste your bunch of money on it right yet.
Yeah, I mean, looking at my Steam library, I don't have enough games in it that I haven't played. They're just so because over the past since the last sale back in the winter, I've played one or two of them. So I need to buy at least 5 more games that I won't play.
That's what you're supposed to do on the Steam sale. You buy the games. They're like, it's for video game collectors. You want the digital copy.
Yeah, it was the same. I literally bought like 2 years ago. I bought Tropica 3 and The Witcher and one other game, and I went a year without playing either one of them. And the only reason why I started to play The Witcher was because I knew I wanted to get The Witcher 2. And so I was like, well, I got to review the first one since I've had it for a year.
Steam sales, that's how babies are made.
Yeah. And then, like, what's worse is when a game goes on sale on Steam and you're like, oh, wow, that'd be a good deal. Oh, wait, I have that already. Like, I saw, like they're like, hey, you can buy Psychonauts. I was like, oh, wow, that's cheap for Psychonauts. Actually, I bought Psychonauts, like, a couple of months ago and still haven't played it.
I don't know.
But
they make
it's just such a good deal to pass up. I'll buy it again, Steam. Yeah. Why not?
They make it so compelling. When you see the big green, like 75% off, you're like, well, it's only $9. And then you do that like 30 times and you're like, what the shit?
I did that with Morrowind, which I owned for the Xbox and loved. And then I saw it was on sale once. It was like $5 for Morrowind. And I was like, I have no intention of playing that, but I love Morrowind, so I'm gonna buy it. And
what
then
if you want the PC experience?
And then Oblivion, I was like, I already had that on the Xbox, and I also pirated it on the PC and played it to death, and don't intend to play. You know what? For $10, I'll get Oblivion again. So now,
stop right there, criminal.
I'm just so
you thief! You stole it.
Yeah, well, I only pirated it on the PC. I justified it. I think I talked about this on Max Speed years ago. It's because I owned it on the Xbox, and the Xbox version was broken, so that if you played it for too long, the game would just not work, and you had to like not play it for a while. And that was justification enough for me to steal it on the PC. But then I eventually bought it, so it was okay.
So it all worked out.
I actually was even tempted to, like, I saw they put The Witcher 2 up there for like $15. I was like, I literally have a copy of it sitting there, and thanks to Good Old Games, I have a digital copy that I can download whenever I want. But this is a copy on Steam, so maybe
isn't that kind of weird how Steam, actually having a Steam game adds value to it? Because I know there's cases where you have it through direct to drive or whatever.
I own Battlefield Bad Company 2 through EA Origins, and then one day there was a Steam sale. It was like $15. You get Battlefield Bad Company 2 and the Vietnam expansion pack, which I thought, well, I could just pay $15 and get the expansion pack anyways on Origins. Or I could pay $15 and get both games on Steam. So now I literally bought it twice just because it was on Steam.
Steam is a very much a value-added thing. Like you can justify spending extra money because the service is there. It works most of the time, and it has some clout to it. It has name recognition, and I think that people trust Steam. I know I do.
I have unlocked the 7-year Steam use badge, so I say I pretty much trust it very well.
Yeah,
7 years.
I didn't even know. I logged in yesterday. I'm like, what the hell is this badge thing?
I didn't even know.
Oh man, 7 years?
Yeah, I was looking at /V on 4chan, and people are like not even. It's like you're not a true gamer unless you have at least 5 years active. I was like, really? Wow. I was like 7. Yeah, so I must be a real big gamer.
Or you just signed up for when Counter-Strike the beta or whatever.
I signed up when they launched 1.6.
Yeah, that's when I did it.
Actually, I think it was 1.5. But the problem was my computer couldn't handle the upgrade, so I couldn't play Counter-Strike anymore. So I had to get a new computer before I could jump back into Counter-Strike. And by that time, because actually I did it for Day of Defeat because I was bigger into the original Day of Defeat, but then they launched the Steam version, and the server I played on moved to Steam, but for some reason my computer couldn't run the Day of Defeat Steam version. So I just had to stop playing.
I have some really intense gaming memories of Day of Defeat. Like, That was such a great game. I can always go back and play it, and it's like riding a bike. Like first couple rounds you suck, and then all of a sudden it just comes to you, and you're tearing it up again.
What I find amazing is when I play games that require a lot more accuracy, because there's no iron sights in Day of Defeat, and so it's a lot of spray and pray. But when you move to like a more accurate game, like when you're playing Battlefield Wild, and then jump into Day of Defeat, you're suddenly better at it because your fundamentals are a lot better and your aiming's a lot better because you had to be in a Battlefield type game.
I hear you.
So, video games. Welcome to Just Video Game Enough.
Welcome to Max Speed. Never mind, I'm done with that.
Oh. Yeah, this is an alternate universe where we're Just Cool Enough is a video game podcast, and we all have goatees, and the alternate government is actually ruling. So here's a funny story. Apparently, a candidate for the Iowa Senate, Republican candidate who's running for Senate, recently sent out a letter to her supporters saying that she is that wanting them to know that she has accepted a position as the United States Senator for the Republic of the United States of America, which, according to her and their website, is the official United States government and not the one in power. That according to their libertarian group, who claims that the United States government, or they call it the United States Corporation, was unlawfully formed in 1871 without American people's consent, and since 1871, the abuse of their corporation upon the international community as well as the American people is unconstitutional. Basically claiming that over 100 years ago, this group stepped in and quietly took over our government, and thus making all of our United States government illegal in their minds, and they are the true American government, and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. So having seen, I've been watching a lot of Deep Space Nine, and they did an episode where Bashir and the Major go through a wormhole and end up in the alternate universe that from the original Star Trek, where humans are enslaved and the Bajorans are like really awesome badass people and teamed up with the Cardassians. It reminds me of that. Like these are people from an alternate universe who stepped in and like, whoa, we're the real government, and they all have goatees, or maybe we're the ones with goatees. Like, would you know if you were in the alternate evil universe? Like,
what's I just grew my goatee out. Maybe it did happen.
Maybe you're one of them. Like, can you imagine if this is the horrible universe? Like, this is the mistake one that like somebody at some point, like back in the 60s, a guy was like, I'm gonna go back and fix this, but we're the continuation of that universe anyways. Like he went back and fixed it, but it created a branch in space-time, whereas now there's a universe of peace and love because he went back, but we are the continuation of that horrible universe that he was like, the corporations are taking over, man. Like he watched the original Rollerball and saw the signs and decided to go back and fix it, but we're still in the Rollerball-esque universe. Not the the one from like the 70s, not the one from like.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking
2000s.
about the. Oh, okay.
Not
good.
the terrible one where it's like the original one where it's like corporations rule and they want to kill the lead rollerball guy because they don't like individuals having clout amongst people, instead of the new one where it's like, hey, Chris Klein is just too good at sports, we need to kill him. It's like, what? This doesn't make sense. Why are you he's too good at rollerball, guys, he needs to die. No, that's not what. Ugh.
So yeah, that's kind of a dystopian look at our current situation.
Can you imagine if this is all true though?
This is a little bit sci-fi for me, but I understand what you're saying, and you know what? Maybe it's a little bit too plausible for me to really want to dive into it anymore.
Yeah, it gets to the point where you're like, what if? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe like
Maybe, man. Let's start some conspiracy theories.
yeah, like suddenly Rowdy Piper's gonna show up, hand us all glasses, and we're gonna realize what's wrong with this world. He's gonna tell us to put on the glasses and kick our ass, and suddenly we're gonna see signs that say "obey" everywhere, and we're like, holy fuck, he was right.
This whole time.
Rowdy Piper was right from the beginning.
Or you could do the Matrix plot, because that's
How many
good.
stupid fucking science fiction references am I gonna do for this one story? I did like Deep Space Nine. I did.
I want you to do a couple more.
I did. I just did. They Live. Jeez. What's a good one? Rollerball. We talked about Rollerball.
Is Rollerball really science fiction?
Yeah, it's set in the future. The future, like it's set in the future of what the '70s thought the future was gonna be. But yeah. I watch a lot of terrible movies. Those aren't ones.
It sounds like it. What about
watch a lot of old sci-fi? I'm just saying.
Okay, transitioning into a different story now.
Nudity.
Yes, nudity. Yes.
Nudity.
What works? What works? Nudity.
Nudity. What can we transition to? Nudity.
Perfect.
As you know, thanks to the availability of digital cameras and the internet and all that stuff, people are, getting more and more into sending naked pictures. It's a problem that like 20 years ago, finding a naked picture of yourself on the internet, mostly because pictures were only
They were only in Kodak cameras and 35 millimeters.
I think they're celebrating like 20 years ago today, or like this week, the first photo was uploaded to the internet or some stupid thing like that. I don't know.
It looks like a bad shop. It's hilarious.
Yeah. But basically, like because of just the readily availableness of technology, people are just taking pictures of the genitals and texting them while willy-nilly, and they find themselves all over. Well, finally, someone is deciding to use our advancing technology and our weird obsession with showing pictures of our genitalia to one another with a new iPhone app that is designed to detect skin cancer. Basically, you take photos of yourself with this app, and then it will scan your skin pigmentation and whatnot, and try and determine whether or not you should be concerned about a certain mole or something like that you might have to have looked by a professional because of the chances that it is skin cancer.
So this looks like an interesting app.
I think I have cancer.
This is like
an app for that.
Do I have skin cancer? This looks like something like Mark Zuckerberg's like cousin like came up with. He's like in a basement somewhere, like, oh man, I'm never gonna be as good as Zuck. I'm gonna have to come up with something that like cures the world from cancer.
Yeah, Zuckerberg's like all like, hey, let's have social network. Fuck that guy, man. I want to do something like real. Like I want bitches to send me pictures of their titties and stuff like that. But I gotta find a way to do it.
For science.
No, and everyone's scared of cancer. How can I get a bunch of women to send me naked pictures? This works perfectly. And you can get it in really good detail because it looks like the interface of it's like, take a picture of your left boob, take a picture of your right boob, take a picture of your vagina. And then like, I thought you were detecting skin cancer. Why do you only want my boobs and my vagina?
Science?
That's where most of the skin cancer grows. Trust me, it's for science.
I'm worried that this infringes a little bit too much on Just Cool Enough's patent for. We are developing an iPhone app. I know, as many of you who listen to the show know, we are the foremost experts in breast detection when it comes to criminal investigation. So we are developing an iPhone app wherein if you are worried that someone is out to get you, or that you have an outstanding warrant, or that people are going to arrest you because of how you look, you use your iPhone or Android device to take a picture of your breasts and then send it through our thing, and we will clear you or not. Or if like you find we've got this suspect, and then you take out your little device, the police can take a picture of the suspect's breasts, and then we will be able to detect whether or not
using
that person...
the latest in breast detection technology.
Yeah, it's patent pending stuff. I mean, it's really high science stuff. But this way that cops can just really quickly decide. It's like, hey, do we got the right person? Send us a picture of her titties, and we will detect like within minutes whether or not that person is the person you are looking for. totally for criminal use. I mean, these photos are not kept in a hard drive somewhere in the folder.
They're not in a shared Dropbox for me, Eric and Ike.
No,
Definitely not.
there's certainly no MediaFire account where one can access all of these. Just none of that stuff. This is it's totally not what you're thinking. It's for criminal investigation purposes.
Don't use this unless you're over 18.
Speaking of awkward transitions.
Speaking of awkward silence.
Yeah. So in Utah, a teenage boy has been arrested for basically torturing and killing his family's pet because he was upset with his grades and decided to attack the cat and kill it by repeatedly punching it in the head and neck. Then called the police and said, "Hey, my cat's dead because I beat it to death. Can you come here and get rid of this cat?" And was promptly arrested for animal cruelty and whatnot. And people are obviously questioning, like, why is he beating a cat to death because of his grades? My theory, and this is based completely on conjecture, is that his cat offered to tutor him. Like, clearly that's what happened. Like, all the evidence points that his cat was like, "Dude, hey Mark, I know you're struggling a lot with your classes. I know calculus is pretty hard, and I will help you out with this. Like, I'm pretty smart not just for a cat, for like people too." And he was like, "Really, Mr. Sprinkles?" He's like, "Totally. I will help you out with these grades. We'll get your grades up. You'll get into a good college." And he started tutoring him, and they've been working for years. But it turns out the cat doesn't know shit about calculus, and he totally failed. He's probably gonna have to repeat the 12th grade, and it's just fucking disturbing. So he got it.
I heard that as an insider of the story that the cat actually, I mean, it didn't do a great job tutoring him, but the cat touched him inappropriately.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this story that I don't think is being reported.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole cover-up here from the West Jordan Police Department, and I mean, this cat was running a crime ring, honestly, and this person just was out for the best. It was Mark here was.
I mean, there's
an upright student.
There's unconfirmed reports that the cat pulled a gun on him, and that this was self-defense. But the liberal mainstream media doesn't want to report about these cats that are holding up perfectly decent children and the children defending themselves, because that doesn't fit with the narrative they're trying to sell the public.
Exactly. You know, human trafficking is an awful industry, and to play it up to downplay it in our civilization now with all the means of communication we have, you know, I feel bad for this poor child being framed for punching a cat in the face when he was taking down a mob boss.
Yeah, that's
because why would he call on himself?
Yeah, he was like, "Help! I've just been attacked by a cat. I've defended myself. But I don't think the cat made it. I'm." And the cops are like, "Yeah, right, buddy. You're going down." And he's like, "Please, it was self-defense." And they're like, "Hey, no one will believe you."
It sounds like the cat's plan went perfectly.
I would like to state for the record, Joe's the only one laughing.
Yeah, I would like to state for the record that
upon uttering that phrase,
I hung my head in shame.
I could not help myself.
You know, I didn't hang my head in shame. I hung a couple cats. That's how bad that joke was. But they deserved it.
I couldn't resist. It just happened. It just happened.
Yeah. Speaking of the cat conspiracy, now, obviously,
conspiracy.
We've established pretty clearly that cats are into human trafficking and assaulting perfectly normal teenage boys. But did you know that this isn't the beginning of this? That this has been around for a while. I finally realized that alternative U.S. government that took over is I see the evidence, and the evidence is in Alaska, where for the past 15 years, a cat named Stubbs has been mayor of this small town.
This is the start of the cat crime ring.
It's been happening for a while. They were right. They were right along. I wasn't convinced until I read this story. Apparently, 15 years ago, this small Alaskan town whose name I don't fucking want to pronounce, were having an election for mayor, as you do, but people were unimpressed with the candidates to choose from, so they convinced 900 people to basically just vote for this fucking cat. And this cat has been serving as mayor of this town for the past 15 years.
I want to know what this cat's getting paid, because I think we should look into the finances.
I'll tell you, every afternoon he hangs out at their local general store and is paid in drugs. They give him drugs. They put catnip in water and he drinks it. He is a drug addict. They are paying him in drugs so that he doesn't demolish their city. That's clearly what happens. This town is surrounded by fear. They're basically afraid for their lives because this cat drug dealer is basically ruling with an iron paw.
I would call it a catastrophe.
Just give it up.
I don't even want to do this show anymore.
Well, that's it, yes. I got like my brain died, I think.
Listen, this mayor cat means business, all right? Look at how many people died while this cat was in power. Lots of people died. He's embezzled cans of tuna, and this is the center. Just one of his pawns got punched in the face just a couple days ago.
They're moving. I mean, it's like in that
he's worldwide. He's at least nationwide. This is a pandemic.
If I can reference another science fiction movie, it's like the movie The Faculty with Elijah Wood, where they realize that aliens are taking over their school. And one of the people mentions Invasions of the Body Snatchers, another science fiction movie where you wouldn't take over, Los Angeles or New York or, big city. You'd take over the small cities first because no one would notice there. No one would notice that for the past 15 years a cat has been your mayor. It would just slowly happen. And suddenly cats are our police chiefs. Cats are knocking down our doors. They're quartering soldiers totally against the Constitution. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't say we can't quarter cat soldiers. And it's like, those are just people with plastic cat ears. It's like, doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't say anything. And then next, we don't have freedom of press.
I heard that
then they're cloning weird cat-human hybrids.
Yes. And then the furries take over. The furries are just they are the apologists. They are the collaborators. Furries are collaborators with the alternative government of cats that's taking over this country.
This cat in Alaska actually was the first draftee of the Patriot Act.
He co-authored it with
Don Perleone.
Yeah, Don Perleone. I mean, it's just our only hope is that factions break off, because certainly the cats are trying to establish themselves as the dominance. But cats have always had a problem with dogs, though they do on occasion, sort of get together. But hopefully, like, the ponies will fight them off, and they will be fair. But clearly, there's going to be they're going to take over, and there's going to be a civil war of animals fighting for the limited resources that humans can provide as their slaves. Listen,
we are brainwashed. Have you seen Reddit? Do you know how they respond to cats? Yeah. They have the internet. They have everything.
I read a study today that most of the computer time that people spend at work is looking at cat videos.
We are brainwashed. Wake up, people.
This is why whenever I see my cat and he's like, meow, I'm like, fuck you, cat.
Or then you punch him in the face repeatedly.
You got to punch him. Mark or Alan or whatever the hell his name is.
He was onto him.
He found him out, and he's framed, and now he's dead.
Yeah, it's just. This is why
sleeping in the cat litter.
My cat, I'll be in the kitchen. My cat will rub against my legs, and I'll be like, "Fuck you! I don't love you. I ain't gonna feed your ass."
Don't show it feelings. If you show it emotion, it knows it's won.
Yeah.
And women are just helpless. This is how it goes down. Women are helpless to cats, and guys are helpless to vagina. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Cats run the world.
It's inevitable. It's just inevitable how this shit works.
We're fucked. This is it.
And they had their cat copters too. You gotta watch out for that.
Oh my
shit.
gosh, they've
My God,
Unmanned
technology is
drones. It's
we're
unsurpassed.
starting to put it together. They unmanned cat drones that are gonna be spying on all American citizens.
They've already lifted the legislation so cat drones can spy on us.
Because you're like, oh, look at that cat in the tree, and then it takes off and flies away when you're not looking.
Jet cat.
No,
It's
that's
onto us.
those are going to be the IEDs. It's like, help, my kitten's stuck in a tree, and then some heroic firefighter is like, oh, I'll save your cat, and then the tree fucking explodes because it was a cat IED.
This is the worst thing to ever happen.
Thankfully, some of our citizens are taking a stand, like this young gentleman or this brave hero of a man. Apparently, in some place, I don't know if they say what state it is, but basically, there's this place where
This is Las Vegas.
they've been having problems with bears. Bears have been kind of a problem. And one individual was out and about one day when a 300-pound black bear came out, and he felt threatened. There were children around, and he did the only thing he could do, and he shot the black bear because he wanted to defend his family and the children around there, and he was worried for them. And now people are going after him because they say it was unlawful just because. And I don't believe I'm not entirely convinced that this isn't a plot from a cat or the bear community, the bear apologist community, that they found Facebook posts saying that we need to do something about these bears. It's just there's too many bears around. It's calling him a racist against bears. And the day before he shot the bear, he said he was going to have a bear barbecue. And people are claiming that he purposely shot a bear for the purposes of eating it. You see how the media twists and turns this hero who's fighting.
There's a couple of things here. Was it a black bear?
Yeah.
Racist. This was absolutely a racist thing.
Yeah, that's what
it wasn't a brown bear. It wasn't a white polar bear. He killed a black bear.
That's
hey,
what
again, you don't know. I mean, he could have. Nobody saw it. He could have been walking along. The bear looked imposing, and it was just carrying its iced tea supposedly.
Yeah, the bear was wearing a hoodie and had iced tea and Skittles. So,
Yeah.
so we'll never.
And then he just came out. He's like, I want a barbecue.
Well, you can't really tell. The media twists it. I don't want to say all bears are terrible. But I've seen the Facebook photos of this particular bear, and I can see why some people would be scared of him in the middle of the night. Like, what was he doing in this community?
You can make any bear look bad. Look at those other Facebook posts. This bear is
the problem.
he's just a young bear. You can't just blame stuff on a young bear. You grow up.
Media is showing pictures of this bear from like 5 years ago when it was all young and cute before it got all bared out. Like before it got, you can't really tell. This
bear was not even grown, had no idea. He was walking around being a black bear, and now this happens, and it's a tragedy. I'm surprised that this hasn't caught more national press.
Yeah, and it is a very, very serious thing. But there's a lot of discussion that we should probably be having about this, because it does seem like that there's like in Las Vegas, and I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but in Las Vegas apparently there were a couple of chimpanzees just hanging out outside. Be like, hey, it's kind of hot out here. Hey, want to go gambling? And then people are like, oh God, chimpanzees! And then like a police officer is like, fuck you, chimp, and then shot one of them. Thankfully, though, animal control showed up in time so that he and tranked the other one before he could murder this chimpanzee. Because I will say one thing: the chimpanzees are so much like us that they stand against the cat. People are so confused these days about which animals are with us and which are against us that they think all animals, like, oh, shoot the chimps. It's like, no, the chimps are with us. The cat media makes these Rise of the Planet of the Apes bullshit and chimps are gonna go fight us, so you better shoot them and not us cats because everyone loves us.
Fair and balanced. The
that's
cats
what you
are fair and
think,
balanced.
but you see, the chimp that was shot and killed was actually all hopped up on bath salt and was trying to eat the face of the other chimpanzee.
That's not even true. You'll find out like same with like in a couple of days it'll come out. It's like, oh no, he wasn't on bath salts. No, people are just going to start reporting that this crazy chimp was going around eating people's faces when instead, because it's like, oh, you know how them chimps all love bath salts and eating faces. Look at that lady who got her face ripped off. I'm not convinced that lady didn't get her face ripped off by a cat. They have claws, don't they?
Right? I'm sure the cats can frame a chimp. Easily doable.
I saw a cat once.
The chimps are already in cages.
I've seen cats do stuff like that all the time. Like when I was younger, I saw a bigger cat we had push a smaller cat off the balcony down the stairs just cause. I mean, they do that kind of stuff. I mean, they're just... These
are vicious beasts. I feel bad for the other animals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say.
I feel bad for us.
Yeah,
we're just. Who knows? Right now, we could be playing into a cat trap.
It's just horrible. They ruin this shit all over the place.
You know what we can kill them with? Curiosity.
It's true.
I heard it kills them.
Yeah. Also, my old dog, if he sees him in the field.
Okay, he'll get him.
Yeah, like my old dog Scooby, who was like the tamest. Like he didn't even bark. Like we had him for like 8 years before I ever heard him bark. But when he like just lied around all day. But whenever he'd go for a walk, and my mom would just kind of let him loose in the field. If he saw a cat that wasn't our cat, he's killed at least one that we knew of. Like, but he can't kill like our cats because he'd get in trouble, and he knew that. But other cats, like he was like, "Fucking, you're not one of our." Ah.
He's like a day walker.
Yeah, he don't know. He was a sneaky little fucker. Anyways, I think it's time we stop talking about all this gay shit like cats and sending pictures of your titties to us, and start plugging each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my plug for this week, I'm going to plug a new reality show that it's on YouTube, of all places. It's weird. You would think they would go up on like a live network because it's an amazing idea. It's called Sex House. And it's basically
this sounds interesting.
It's 6 people put in a house with cameras all over it and are given lots of booze and are encouraged to basically have sex with one another. And the first episode's up. The second episode probably comes out in a couple of days. But it's an interesting, just one of those really awesome reality TV shows. By the way, this is produced from The Onion, so it's not real. But I love they basically they look at all those like Big Brother, all those like shows, and just made the perfect thing. Like they have like the 2 sort of normal like party people, like guy and girl, and then the one girl who tries to have sex with everyone for attention, and then one girl who's a virgin, and then one man who's gay but there's no other gay people there, and then just an old dude in his like 50s, like, and that's the Sex House, and it's very funny and parodies reality TV in all the great ways that The Onion parodies everything, and it's totally worth watching.
I love that they just got right to the root of what people watch reality TV for.
Yeah, it's kind of like they did on their movie. They had advertisements for a show on Fox called MILF Island, where like prepubescent boys and horny MILFs are on an island for no reason. Like.
It just cuts right to the heart of what's going on. Yeah. I'm going to take a knee this week for plugs because I think Ike has a special plug this week.
Wait, why are you taking a knee?
Because I don't have a plug.
Strange.
Do you want me to come up with something?
I mean, you could even plug your own Twitter account. I mean, damn. Plug social media meltdown.
Well, goddamn, Ike, would you just plug your thing and I'll find something?
This week I am plugging my own stuff. I am selling. I'm selling my art.
Hate on your plug.
I'm selling my art, which you can get on InstaCanvas. And check out my stuff. You can buy some of my iPhoneography stuffs up there. My work was just featured in a well-known iPhoneography blog this past week. So I got some good attention from that, and I put up some of my stuff. So check it out. You can buy it for as cheap as 40 or up to 80, depending on how big a piece you want. And I see some of that very little, but I see some of that. And I'd like to be a real artist and make money off my own art like other artists. And be a real boy.
Okay, so for my plug this week, I'm plugging in the YouTube channel Badge of Shame. Have I talked about that before?
Maybe. I don't remember.
All right, well, that's my plug this week. It's hilarious. This guy goes to cons. I think I've talked about it before. But if that's not good enough for you, nope, that's my only plug.
That's not good enough. Too fucking bad.
If that's not good enough for you, F you. I don't got a plug. Maybe if you guys would send more emails our way to the show at justcoolenough.com. Again, that email address is theshow@justcoolenough.com. That would be great. Also, buy Ike's art so he can, afford his rent and also help us do the show. Because if Ike's not on the show, I mean, he was like so close from not being on the show today. So go buy Ike's art for real. And while you're at it, you can throw a couple bucks our way, donation-wise. If you see something that's awesome on the Steam sale, buy it for me. Do not buy it for Eric. Do not buy it for Ike. That's my plug. Buy me things on Steam.
Don't buy it for the two people who have money issues and are moving and just can't afford things. Buy it for the guy who has a nice place and doesn't have to really worry about money as much as, and it's like, oh, just I'm getting a paycheck. Fuck you.
Yep. And follow me on SpeedyF40 at SpeedyF40 on Twitter.
Follow me at Duncor, DUNCOR. And you can follow Railvis at Railvis. Also, I want to plug, if you happen to be in the Los Angeles area, or you might find yourself in there next month, August 4th at 2:30 p.m. at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, you can watch my graduation show for my Improv 101 class, which might be interesting. So you maybe check that out. You can always add me on Facebook if you want to see the event that I created, and also see pictures of me at medieval times. Yeah. I totally went to medieval times.
I want to see that.
It was hella sweet because it was the event was rented out by Blizzard because my friend that works there invited me, Jason. You guys knew him. He worked at WoW Radio, and so the entire thing was like themed after World of Warcraft. Like all the knights were named after Blizzard game characters, and like the one guy like King Varied Wind and one was Sirafang, and they had special tabards with like the Alliance and Horde crests on them, and like the evil knight that shows up is the herald of the Lich King of Northrend. Like they made it very they went the extra mile to sort of theme it after Blizzard Entertainment, so it was actually really fun. So you should check stuff out, whatever I mentioned. Anyways, that's the show. I would suggest you follow us. Check out the website, justcoolenough.com, where you can read about all the links that we posted and all that stuff. And
give us some iTunes reviews. We haven't had a good iTunes reviews in a while.
We haven't had an iTunes.
You've made it this far in the show. Fucking download iTunes, install it, review it.
The other week, and I haven't seen an iTunes review since January.
Right? That's nuts. It's been so long. It's been like 8 months, or maybe 7.
It's kind of crazy.
Like 3 years. It's been like it was actually January of 2008.
Yeah, it was
2008.
Yeah, it was before we even started this. It was weird.
Exactly. That's how far back.
Seriously, if you made it this far into the show, you owe us at least an iTunes review, because I know you're not donating, you jerks.
You dumb jerk. Let's just start insulting them at the end of the
show. Wait, we did have 2 donators this week.
I bet you guys won't donate. I bet you won't donate.
Jerks, stupid jerks. Fuck you for listening to this show. Jerks, buy us video games.
Did we receive some donations this week?
Well, we have like the automatic
recurring.
Monthly.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mr. David. David C. I don't want to say your last name in case you're like, oh my god,
Patrick C.
But we will read out your social security numbers on air. 137
654 5218. That's not even the right format.
That was actually Joe's. He was trying to make it up and actually give out his own.
I just told you all my social security numbers.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! Thanks for listening. You guys did not enjoy my puns.
Not one bit.
Assholes. You're all assholes.